Welcome back to the Commercial Law School. Let's move on from where we left off in our last video. Today, we will look at dispute resolution, intellectual property, and real estate. As discussed briefly in our What is Commercial Law video, dispute resolution is considered contentious work. Lawyers who sit in this department solve disputes for their clients. They do this by either going to court, known as litigation, or by alternative dispute resolution methods. These include methods such as mediation or through methods such as arbitration. We have discussed this in more detail in the What is Commercial Law video in the link in the description box below. But dispute resolution is not only about companies and people suing each other. A lot of dispute resolution lawyers work on cases where governments are suing corporate entities for failing to comply with regulation. Dispute resolution lawyers also aim to prevent disputes from arising as much as they try and solve them. This researching of any potential liabilities is called due diligence. Lawyers would then try and rectify any issues that may result in litigation. A key skill that dispute resolution lawyers have is negotiation. If the case is being settled, dispute resolution lawyers will negotiate the terms of the settlement. So, how is COVID affecting the dispute resolution practice area? Well, they'll be dealing with a lot of clients who are trying to show the courts that it was impossible for them to fulfill their end of a contract due to the virus. This is known as frustration of contract. Also, trials have moved online. Now let's move on to intellectual property. An intellectual property is something you create using your mind. For example, an idea, an invention, or a piece of art. Intellectual property lawyers ensure that the intellectual property of their clients are protected. One way they might do this is applying for a patent for a client. This stops other people from copying, using, or profiting from the client's invention or idea. Intellectual property lawyers also conduct due diligence to find out whether something that the client wants to do may infringe any intellectual property rights of others. This is to protect the client from litigation. So again, let's consider how the coronavirus has impacted this practice area. Well, many intellectual property offices around the world have announced changes to different intellectual property deadlines. Okay, let's move on and take a look at real estate. Real estate refers to real or physical property and assets. So in the real estate department, lawyers tend to give advice on any transaction involving land, building, planes, and ships. Real estate lawyers also have to ensure that any relevant planning permissions are in order before starting construction or altering a building. They also draw up the legal contracts for these transactions. Lawyers are also responsible for explaining licensing and leasehold responsibilities to their clients in order to avoid litigation. In the event that litigation does arise, real estate lawyers help with property-related disputes. So, how has the virus affected the real estate department in law firms? Following the closure of many businesses such as shops, restaurants, and other companies, real estate lawyers would be advising the landlords about their new leasehold obligations under the new Coronavirus Act. We have now reached the end of our 3-part series on practice areas. We have covered banking and finance, competition, corporate. We have also looked at employment, tax, capital markets, dispute resolution, intellectual property, and finally, real estate. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next week.